Tyros asks, what spells, schools of magic, sects do you feel have the most potential to disrupt a setting?
Oh, yeah, right. Well, you're talking to an academic here, right? So I was just saying this to somebody the other day online, that people who aren't familiar with academic culture, this is one of the things too, where, in the United States and I think around the world, talking about higher education and the problems that it's facing, we talk about it as though all universities are the same. And then within universities, everybody's on the same page. And let me tell you that people in the College of Liberal Arts and the School of Business and the engineering and they're like their own domains, and everybody likes to argue. And then even within the College of Liberal Arts, sociologists arguing with the literature, arguing with philosophy, arguing with the history professors, right? There is so much. And I mean, like, the stakes are always really low, which is always what, the people who are like me kind of roll our eyes. It's like, it's crazy that people get so much energy out of fighting about it. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's where schools of magic, and if you just tie funding or limited resources, it's like if monarch butterflies, everybody needs them, right? I want my school of magic to beat yours out, right? So now we got to figure out how we're going to use those resources. So I think that, again, it's less about the like, is one school of magic better than the other, more efficient or whatever, and like trying to figure out all those rules, but like, who's involved, who's got their hands, who can make the most effective change in the world, who can push things towards the way that they want to see them. I think this is like a recurring theme. I think that's the most interesting thing, is thinking, okay, well, there's 4 different schools of magic, make them somewhat different, and then start getting into the people that are behind them, right? You know what I mean? The people that make those things
just
happen.
To jump in there, I think the question is more about schools of magic within a Dungeons and Dragons concept. So necromancy versus abjuration versus transmutation. So what kinds of spells do you think have the most potential to disrupt a setting?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I always go back to resources. I always think that something that would disrupt the economy is always going to be, one of the people who just believes it's the economy stupid, right? So if you can do something that is going to disrupt the economy in one way or the other, so whether that's a matter of labor, whether that's a matter of, using up resources, or creating a scarce resource that's now suddenly plentiful, right? All those things are going to completely disrupt a society, because the economy is the way that people tend to organize themselves socially, right? You know what I mean? In terms of who are the winners, who are the losers, who has access, who doesn't. And then the government, of course, is the one who makes the rules that govern the society about who wins, who loses, all those kind of things. So I think that is one case in which the material aspect of either labor or resources, whether that's growing or shrinking them, would be a great way to sort of be like, okay, well, we've got now these 50 new people who come into this small community, and they can do this thing that, they can create, spirits or whatever that can do the labor for, the people that have currently been doing it. What does that do, right? That suddenly tips things over. Those other people are going to either have, idle time, or they're going to find other things to do. And there are going to be people who are happy about that, and there are going to be people who are really angry about that. So hopefully that answers the question a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2 great examples I have for this, the one is from a book by Simon R. Green, in which they use the undead as unpaid manual labor, causing complete riots and complete social unrest, because all of a sudden untrained labor had no jobs, they had no work, and that had a massive societal upheaval. So that was just one very interesting example of how necromancy was used for the greater good, which actually completely backfired. I thought it was very interesting. And the other one, which I've quoted before on these streams, is a real world example of when Musa went to Mecca and debased the value of gold, and created massive economic upheaval. So anything that can create something out of nothing, anything that can create gold or create resources from nothing, that is some dangerous stuff. That has got massive upheaval potential, because you're going to completely change the way the world works, because all of a sudden you can generate resources from nothing. So that's my answer to that question. And eventually it's about resources. It's about labor resources, or like hard resources, physical resources. And those are 2 very easy ways to completely screw everything up if that's what you're looking to do in your world, which is an admirable thing, I would say.